Now you have finally become Pope. I mean Emperor. Time to choose your Pope name. What about perpetual happiness? So you're gonna be the Yongle Emperor? Our guy here was born at a very, very young age to the Yongle Emperor, who was the guy to transition the foreign Mongol-led China into a native Han-led China. This formed the Ming Dynasty, and Yongle became the third emperor of this dynasty. He's known for being a model ruler who was ruthless and somewhat effective, and his grand legitimizing moves can still be seen in the legacy of culture he fostered. The Yongle Emperor was El Papi of the Ming Dynasty. He was also called Daddy by 26 sons, including his fourth, Judy. Guess who Judy is? No, not the bunny from Zootopia, but our future Emperor Yongle. As a minor, Judy was raised in the capital, Nanjing, and was taught strong Confucian morals with an emphasis on discipline and modesty. He really liked archery and horseback riding and was known to be a competent military strategist. This, combined with a twinge of nepotism, is why he became the prince of the Yan region. Although his dad favored his first son, Zhu Biao, the son would end up dying before taking the crown. But after the death of the Hongwu Emperor, the son of the first son, Zhu Biao, Zhu Yinwen, obtained the throne as the Jianwen Emperor instead of what the fourth son, Zhu Di, had expected. The Jianwen rule started to review the many Hongwu reforms and reverted many of the Hongwu policies. Zhu Di was a good boy and thought that his daddy's policies should be kept in place and resented this. Jianwen, knowing this resentment and how dangerous a militaristic youngin could be, massively diminished Zhu Di's power as a prince. This restriction also reached other princes who were Zhu Di's brothers. The Jingnan campaign was a nickname used by Yongle to refer to the civil war that he incited between 1399 and 1402 in the Ming Dynasty. This epic rap battle, except instead of rapping they hit each other, was situated between the Ming government, led by Jianwen, against his uncle Zhu Di, Prince of Yan. The war ejected the Jianwen Emperor and gave back Zhu Di's political authority after the Jianwen Emperor took parts of it away. In 1399, Zhu Di rebelled, starting a war that would last for 3 long years, in which Zhu Di would successfully conquer the capital of Nanjing. He justified his rebellion by claiming that he was acting in self-defense against the corrupt minister of the Jianwen rule. In the aftermath of the war, Zhu Di, now named Yongle, denied the legitimacy of his nephew, abolished Jianwen reforms, and attempted to erase this entirely from history. Yongle then started a large-scale purge of the state administrators and spammed Ctrl-Z. Now, Yongle hated his enemies. Hating your enemies is kind of the point, but his rule was notorious for ruthlessly silencing opposition, like executing all that associated with his predecessor. Yongle led 5 big booming expeditions against the Mongols, which was pretty characteristic for some guy who grew up fighting. The first military expedition was very, very successful, and it defeated them for a long period of time. But then the Mongols came back, and they had to try to defeat them 4 more times. In the end, they were kind of successful, but it was largely a waste of money. Also, Yongle was very interested in the world outside his territory and felt a strong need to be validated and exercise his rule against anyone outside of the Ming. He demanded tribute from territories and gained things like spices, gold, an animal like land seahorses, and yellow horses with really, really long necks. Yongle also contacted sea by sea with his trusty Admiral Zheng He. This guy helped broadcast China's cultural and political dominance over its neighbors. Word on the Chinese street was that he was an illegitimate ruler. Think back to the Jingnan usurper. so he wanted to display the grandeur of the Ming Empire. These diplomatic efforts, however, whether over land or over sea, were costly, and the tributes he amassed were ultimately not that sustainable for his military activities, such as chasing the Mongolians out of China. The hiring of Zheng He was indicative of broader features of his empire, such as an emphasis on protecting trade to incentivize trading like his Mongolian predecessors. Remember the defining civil service exams that made up the bureaucracy that was China? Yongle was no different, and his encouragement of Confucianism was very pedestrian. He also influenced the education system by introducing Neo-Confucianism. And also, his most widely recognized project, and most criticized, was helping his friend Capital move from Nanjing to Beijing. Fun fact, that's why so many people are in the Bay Area. Yongle's encyclopedia, shockingly titled the Yongle Encyclopedia, was as big as your mama in terms of compiling academic works. This encyclopedia was different from most because it had the full version of the multitudes of educational books it contained.